Coronation Street opened with another emotional moment for Will Driscoll after he spotted a video showing a group of boys mocking Megan Walsh. Still trying to cope with everything that happened after Megan was arrested for grooming him and later released on bail, Will has also been clashing with his father Ben, who fears the scandal could damage his son's future relationships. In fresh scenes, Will challenged Ben after overhearing him discussing the situation with Eva Price. Trying to escape the tension, Will headed to the cafe where he unexpectedly ran into Sam Blakeman. Not realizing Sam had been suffering disturbing visions involving him, Will was shocked when Sam suddenly lashed out. Sam accused him of destroying his life and called him evil, leaving Will confused and apologetic. Clearly shaken, Will stormed away before turning to alcohol and climbing onto nearby scaffolding. When Asha Alahan noticed him and begged him to come down, Will admitted he felt completely broken and feared he would never feel normal again. As Asha reassured him that things could improve, she secretly messaged Maggie while Hope Dobbs rushed off to find Ben. Ben soon arrived to find Will still perched on the scaffolding alongside Maggie, who tried to comfort him while sharing his drink. Will confessed that, although he hated what Megan had done to him, he still couldn't stop thinking about her. Maggie encouraged him not to let the manipulative coach continue controlling his emotions. Eventually, with Maggie's support, Will climbed down safely and later reconciled with his loved ones. However, the situation took another troubling turn when Megan, who had secretly been watching him, suddenly approached him. "I missed you," Megan told the teenager, but Will firmly demanded that she stay away as Hope secretly observed the confrontation nearby. Trying once again to manipulate him, Megan insisted she believed they had been in love, but this time Will stood his ground, pushed her aside, and walked away. Could this latest encounter with Megan cause even more problems for Will in the future? Lisa makes another shocking arrest in Coronation Street. Nobody in Weatherfield is exactly mourning the death of Theo, but Lisa has more than one reason for wanting the case solved quickly. Firstly, she's a detective, and secondly, finding a corpse on the day of her wedding completely ruined what should have been a happy occasion. Working alongside Kit Green, Lisa continues questioning 6 key suspects as she tries to uncover who finally brought down one of the street's most despised residents. At the top of the suspect list is Todd Grimshaw, Theo's long-suffering partner who suffered years of manipulation and cruelty at the hands of the controlling abuser. However, Lisa has recently focused much of her attention on Summer Spellman, who lost Billy Mayhew because of Theo's actions. Summer's diary has become a major concern too, as it contains disturbing fantasies about threatening Theo with a gun. Meanwhile, Kit has become increasingly suspicious of Gary Windus. Theo's former friend and employer has never tolerated bullies, especially considering he already has a violent past. CCTV footage showing Gary smashing Theo's van with a sledgehammer shortly before the murder certainly doesn't help his case. Another person under suspicion is Undertaker George Shuttleworth. Fiercely protective of Todd, George recognized Theo's true nature long before anyone else did. George was actually the person arrested after Lisa discovered a blood-covered jumper inside the funeral parlor. Although he was later released, questions still remain over the late-night walk he took on the evening Theo died. Attention has also turned to George's partner Christina Boyd. Could she be hiding information to protect George or herself? Then there's Theo's angry ex-wife Danielle Silverton, who has every reason to resent him. Theo abandoned Danielle and their children to begin a new life with Todd. Although she later returned to buy flowers for Theo and bonded with Todd over their failed marriages, suspicion quickly fell on her after Ryan Connor revealed he saw Danielle near the crime scene on the night Theo was killed. With Danielle now firmly under suspicion, the investigation takes another dramatic twist in upcoming Coronation Street episodes when Lisa begins looking into an entirely new suspect. After Ryan's statement about Danielle's movements that night, Lisa informs Todd that she has questioned Danielle. But what exactly did she learn? Elsewhere, Summer admits to Todd during a prison visit that she's considering confessing to manslaughter because she feels trapped with no other option. Devastated by Summer's confession, Todd later asks Lisa whether he can finally have his mobile phone returned by the police. However, Lisa's unexpected answer leaves him stunned. At the same time, Lisa opens up to Carla Connor Swain about her new superior officer, explaining that they seem perfectly willing to let Summer take the blame for Theo's death instead of investigating alternative suspects. The case then takes another surprising turn when Todd's missing phone is discovered inside a pawn shop. Lisa immediately orders forensic tests to be carried out. Soon afterwards, in a dramatic development, Lisa shocks residents by arresting Brody Michaelis on suspicion of theft. Sally and Tim Metcalf are horrified as Lisa escorts an angry and protesting Brody into the police car after forensic officers discover his fingerprints covering Todd's phone. Kit watches the arrest unfold with growing concern, but can Brody explain why his fingerprints were on the phone, or could he now become the prime suspect in Theo's murder case? Coronation Street teases two devastating moments in Daniel's troubling storyline. Daniel Osborne faces a terrifying ordeal next week when he wakes to discover that his young son, Bertie, has vanished without a trace. As events spiral out of control, Daniel later ends up accidentally hurting his father, Ken Barlow, during a heated confrontation inside Number 1. The dramatic week threatens to change everything for the troubled teacher. The chaos begins after Daniel drinks heavily alone in his flat and eventually passes out, leaving Bertie unattended. The following morning, a panicked and hungover Daniel rushes into the street desperately searching for his missing son. But where has Bertie gone? And is he safe? Before Bertie disappears, Daniel's problems start mounting as he anxiously prepares to return to school, fully aware that cruel social media accusations against him have spread around Weatherfield. Hoping to lift his father's spirits, Bertie gives Daniel a best teacher mug for luck. Sadly, the touching moment is short-lived when Lily Platt accidentally knocks into Daniel in the corridor, smashing the gift. Distraught by the incident, Daniel heads to the Rovers to drink away his misery, forcing Adam Barlow to intervene before things get worse. However, while storming through the precinct in a bad mood, Daniel unexpectedly crosses paths with Megan Walsh. Could Daniel lose control around his manipulative former partner? Unfortunately for Daniel, his nightmare is only beginning. Back at the flat, while reading more hateful online messages posted by TruthTeller2, Jody Ramsey accidentally lets slip a comment that reveals she is secretly behind the trolling campaign. Although Jody strongly denies it, Daniel becomes convinced he's uncovered the truth. Furious and emotionally exhausted, he returns to the pub for more alcohol before stumbling back home. Meanwhile, Bertie innocently asks his father for something to eat, but Daniel ignores him and passes out once again. Left alone, the vulnerable child attempts to prepare food for himself, leading to dangerous consequences before he eventually wanders out into the street by himself. The next morning, Daniel is jolted awake by a phone call from Bertie's school asking why the youngster hasn't arrived. Terrified, Daniel rushes to the Barlow house searching for answers, only to face furious criticism from his worried family members over his reckless behavior as a parent. During the tense confrontation, Daniel feels completely cornered by his loved ones. As tempers rise, he lashes out at Adam, but accidentally strikes Ken instead, leaving the family horrified. With Bertie still missing and social services soon arriving to question him, Daniel's world continues to fall apart. But where exactly is Bertie gone, and can Daniel repair the damage before it's too late? Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX.